Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. My name is Zuhairatul Adina. I am the 6th semester of English Education Department. Here I will summary the 6 material from the subject of teaching English for young language learners. Well, the first material is young language learner. So young learner has their own characteristic. The characteristic covers their own the ways to thinking, attitude, and aptitude. They also has their ways to learning a language. So as a teacher, we have to know the characteristic of our students to give them the best quality in teaching English and do not make them feel bored. In language learners, there are two characteristics we have to know. So the first is first level is in which 5 to 7 years old, and first characteristic is young children sometimes have difficulty in knowing what is fact and what is fiction. Children do not always ask. And next is the physical word is dominant at all times. And next is young children cannot decide for themselves what to do learn. And next is children are very self-centered. And next is they can tell you what they have done or heard. And next is they can use wide range of intonation patterns in their mother tongue. And for the second level is 8 to 10 years old. The first characteristic is they can tell the differences between fact and fiction. And next is they rely on the spoken word as well as the physical word to convey and understand meaning. And next is they are able to make some decision about their own learning. And next is they have defined views about what they like and they don't like to do. And the first is they are able to work with others and learn from others. Well, the next is class and atmosphere, and the first is teacher come in all shapes and size. We come to the job with personalities already formed, but there are abilities and attitude which can be learned and worked on. As a teacher of young children, it helps a lot if you have a sense of humor, you are open-minded, adaptable, patient, and etc. But if you are the silent, reserved type, you can work on your attitude and abilities. And the first is abilities. We may not all be brilliant in the music, such as sing a song. And the next is attitude. Attitude is respect your pupils and be realistic about what they can manage at an individual level. And the next is helping the children to feel secure. Security is not an attitude or an ability, but. And the next is helping the children to feel secure. Security is not an attitude or an ability, but it is essential if we want our pupils to get the maximal out of the language lesson. And the next is the physical surroundings. Being a teacher when teaching, don't just raise on one place. We have to go around so students don't feel unnoticed. And the next is arranging the decks. You may want to arrange the decks in the different ways to different lessons, but it is much simpler if you decide on the most suitable arrangement for a lesson and stick to it. And the next is pair work. Pair work is a very useful and efficient teaching. It is simple to organize and easy to explain, and group work should not be attempts before the children are used to working in tours first. And the next is group work, which has been said about pair work applies to group work. We cannot put children into groups, give them an exercise, and assume that it will work. And the last is classroom language. Try to speak English as much of the time as you can, using mime and acting, puppets, and any other means you can think of to get your meaning across. And the next material is teaching for skill language learners. The first is listening skill. Listening skill in the classroom, when the pupils start to learn foreign language, it is going in mainly through their ears, and what the pupil hear is their main source of the language. And the second is listen and do activities. The activities we can provide is instruction, moving about, put up your hand, drawing, and extra. And the next is listening for information. This activity is identifying exercise, listen for the mistake, putting things in order, listen and color. And the next method is listen and repeat. The activities is rhymes, songs, and the last method is listening to stories, which is the activities is telling stories, creating stories, reading stories. And the next skill is speaking skill. That speaking skill, the main point of speaking skill is speaker understand what is spoken said, and speaking skill is to practice the language. There are some methods of teach speaking skill in young language learner, and the first method is presenting new language orally. We can present the new language is through the pupils using a mascot or through drawing, and the second is controlled practice. In this method, students play a very important role, namely by pronouncing or practicing the activities provided by the teacher, but are still under the control of the teacher. And the next is guided practice. Guided practice is where students carry out the activities guided by the teacher, or the student can practice based on the textbook provided. And the next is dialogue and role play work. The goal is to practice the speaking skill with student partner, where the students make a group and do the dialogue. And the last is free activities, which is the goals of this activity is focus attention and not on the language content. As such, also the language will usually be limited by the activity itself. And the next is reading skill. The first method is phonics. This approach is based on letters and sounds. Basically, we teach the pupils the letters of alphabet and the combination of letters phonetically as they are actually pronounced. And the second method is look and say. This approach is based on words and phrases, and makes a lot of use of flashcard, words written and on cards. And the last method is whole sentence reading. Here, the teacher teaches recognition of whole phrases and sentences which have meaning in themselves. And the next method is language experience approach. This approach to reading is based on the child's spoken language. The teacher writes down a sentence for the child to read, which is based on what the child has said. Right. And the next skill is writing skill. The writing learning method is to procedures, sequence, step, and method used by the teacher in achieving the learning objective of recognition subject, especially aspect of writing skill. The first method is problem solving method. The method of problem solving is the use of method in learning activities by training students to deal with various problems. And the next method is picture and picture. Picture and picture is a learning method that uses pictures and is paired or sort into a logical sequence. And the next method is model, example, and non-examples. Example, non-example is a learning method that use example. Examples can be formed from cases or images that are relevant. And the next method is the direct method. Direct method teaching method is specifically designed to develop students learning about procedural knowledge and declarative knowledge that is well structured and can be learned step by step. And the next is the suggestion imagination method. In principle, the suggestion imagination method is a method of learning to write by giving suggestions through songs to stimulate student imagination. Well, the next is what is topic-based work. Topic-based work is when the learning process is discussed only one topic from the beginning until the end of the learning process. So, why the topic-based work? Why do the topic-based work? Topic-based work is organizable. Topic-based work is flexible. Topic-based work is naturally, and the next is how to set about it. The first is choosing your topic. Before the teachers determine what topic to teach to students, the teacher must know the characteristic of this student, such as what things students like. And the next is planning time. It's like opening, activities, and closing. And next is collecting materials. The teacher prepares the materials to be taught according to the topic. For example, if the topic is about food, the parts of the material are also about food. It's like the vocabulary, song about food, the pictures about food. And the next is functions and situations, where the functions is like what grammar will the teachers teach, and the situation is where this mean in which situation student can be used vocabulary and grammar indirectly. And the next method is method and activities. Familiarity can provide a sense of security, so make full use of what is already familiar to students as well as the activities in the textbook. It's like vocabulary work, dialogue and role play, free activities, stories, and sing-song. And the last is assessment. Teachers must ensure that students can meet the goals of the material we teach. Well, the next material is lesson plan. Why teacher need to make lesson plan? First reason is it makes the learning process more easier. And the next is it saves time. We will know what we need for each lesson. 3 stages of planning. The first stage is long-term planning. It's like curriculum. And the second is short-term planning. It's like RPP. And the next plan is lesson planning. It's like RPS. And how to know your planning work out? You can make a quick checklist. It's like did the pupil understand the teaching point? Did the organization work? Or did they like the subject matter? And the next is things can go wrong in classroom. So every time we teach, we often encounter a disturbing distraction and unknowingly make mistakes that make the classroom atmosphere not conducive. It's like an external disturbance, an internal, the class out of the control, an activity is taking too long, you have extra time and an activity doesn't work, and the last in an activity is too difficult. Well, the next material is using media to teach English for real learners. Teaching media is everything physical form that can convey message and can stimulate a student to learn. The importance of using media for teaching is media that can be used to assist students in their learning in order to make teaching the learning process more effective and efficient. Uh, by using the media, the material is more concrete, interesting, and easier to understand. Well, the first material for you and your student is slide puppets, class mascot, and extra. And the second is material to buy. It's like readers, maps, and extra. And the last is material for you to collect. It's like all old cards, podcasts, and etc. Well, maybe that's all from me. Thank you very much. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.